Have you ever had the feeling that there's someone there watching you, even though you were pretty sure you were all alone? I remember one evening on CBC's Ideas, I heard the world-renowned Canadian Catholic philosopher Charles Taylor reflecting on this common experience, this common feeling. The sense that maybe there is someone or something else nearby when you thought you were all alone can be pretty unnerving or even frightening. Now, for some people it's thrilling. Some people even pay money to go see supernatural thrillers so they can relive that experience, that spine-tingling experience. But most of us have been encouraged in the West to chalk that experience up to an overactive imagination, or to look on it as a childish fear, or to look for some other innocent explanation for that feeling. Well, not that long ago, people would have had a very different reaction to it. The assumption used to be that the spiritual world and the natural world were connected, that they interacted and affected each other. Of course, that view is no longer common. And we've all been encouraged, consciously or unconsciously, to be very skeptical of the spiritual realm, to have doubts about the value of spirituality. But it is entirely logical and reasonable to remain open to the possibility that the universe has realms and beings that we do not yet understand or know. Now, for those who relish books the size of compact cars, I'd encourage you to pick up Charles Taylor's The Secular Age. In it, he traces the story of secularization of our society from hundreds of years ago to now, and explains a little bit, I think describes well, how it is that we've lost our bearings spiritually. Now, if I'm in a restaurant, or if you're in a restaurant and your drink appears, you know it's not magic. You know you're not alone. So when your drink appears, you naturally look around for your server and you give them thanks. But when you're grateful out in the world, who do you give thanks to? What do you do when your heart fills up with thanks? Who do you thank? Gratitude implies that there's someone there to thank. Now, this reminds me of one of my favorite biblical stories, the story of Hagar in Genesis. Hagar had run away from her mistress. She was alone in the wilderness. She was most likely young, and she was pregnant. And she was there, when suddenly there was a voice. Hagar, Hagar, where are you going? And Hagar replied, I'm running away. I've been mistreated, and it's not fair. And the voice said, Hagar, I have heard your crying. I will be with you. Go back to your mistress and submit to her. You're going to have a son. I'll watch over him, and he will become a great nation. And the part that has always grabbed me, although the story itself is compelling, the part that has always grabbed me is that Hagar then names this well, this spring of water that she has found, that she'd been living off of. She names this well, the well of the living one who sees me. And she explains, for now I have seen the one who sees me. Hagar had met God. And Hagar knew God's presence in her life. Hagar knew that someone had been watching and listening long before she had been able to identify that presence, before she was able to put a finger on exactly who it was who was always there watching and listening. I think this is a window on the experience of many people in our culture. I think this is a way to help people understand, make sense of their own experiences in life, that there is indeed a presence in this world. It's a loving God watching and listening. There has always seemed to me to be a presence in this world. The things that I see and I hear make me want to say thank you to this presence. But there's something else as well. The place that I feel it the most keenly is when I'm alone at night in the wilderness. The stars, and I'm listening to the stars and the moon and the planets. When I look up at them alone at night, it's strange. I'm aware of that presence, aware of that God is near, and yet there is a kind of loneliness to it. The closest I can come to describing that feeling is that it's like the feeling I get when I'm looking at pictures of friends or family that I've lost. I look at the picture, I can see them, I remember them, I can almost hear their voices, and yet I know that there's a gulf between us that I can't cross. I can almost hear them, and yet I can't hear them. I can't see them. Charles Taylor says that our secular age is haunted by the memory of God. There is something about remembering someone's presence that makes us long for their company even more. It is similar, I think, when we get to know God. Now, the best way to get to know God, of course, is to get to know Jesus and to allow the Holy Spirit to live within you. But at the same time, that can awaken a loneliness within us, a longing to see, as Hagar did, the God who sees us. Very similar to Paul's words in 1 Corinthians. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, and then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known.